Let's close out with this weekend's other big fight, of course, Deontay Wilder going at it again with Lewis
I
Ortiz.
thought you meant Tom Farrell v Masha Dodd.
Oh, well, yeah, that's an excellent fight, as is Craig Evans, James Tennyson, and Chris Billum-Smith.
That's a really
yeah.
good fight. That's a really good fight.
But all that aside, great undercard though it is. Deontay Wilder, Lewis Ortiz, easier this time around seems to be the consensus. But you said you're fancying Ortiz.
I didn't feel there was a need for the rematch. It wasn't something that people were calling on, was it? But it is a good heavyweight fight, and I'm quite intrigued because, and again, like people just see this as Eddie Hearn slagging people off, but it's bombing, right? The tickets are horrific. I think the pay-per-view is going to bomb, and there's no buzz, right? And Wilder's that guy. You even see Wilder in his speech yesterday. It was like, it was force-fed. Wilder's such a great personality, and when he's on form, he's great to watch. He's a great entertainer. I'm watching this thinking, you don't even look like you really want to be in this fight. Everybody's talking about the Fury fight, February 22nd. You're thinking, fuck me, it's December next week, and I'm supposed to be fighting in February. I've got this geezer King Kong, who's about 80 years old, now looks 55, out of nowhere. He's now got a barnet, a fade, and he's ripped, right?
It's all about the fade.
Yeah, and so what's going on? And I just think that, I think Wilder will still probably knock him out early, but...
After all that.
Yeah, no, but I just think there's a really interesting dynamic now where I don't think he really wants to be there, Wilder. I don't think he really wants to be in this fight. He's obviously thinking about the next fight. I mean, it's like almost shades of AJ Ruiz, So, yeah, listen, the heavyweight game is so fascinating. Anything can happen on the turn of a punch. So I'm going to be finishing in Liverpool and sitting up to watch it live on Sky Sports.
Final question for you. It's obviously election season at the moment. I'm not going to ask you how you're going to vote, because you might influence too many people.
I'll tell you because, I won't tell you who I'm going to vote for. It's pretty obvious who I'm going to vote for. But I watched the debate the other night and I'm thinking, fuck me. I mean, who would you vote for? So just
none of the above, like in that film.
Exactly, yeah.
But what I did want to ask, Labour have unveiled their manifesto today. I think the Conservatives are going to do theirs soon. What would you say are the main bullet points of the Matchroom Manifesto for 2020?
Continued expansion, more value for fight fans. I think trying to get out of a position of those intermediate warm-up fights, if you like. Do you know what I mean? Because I think a lot of people, and when we talked about those names earlier, they're good examples of guys that don't actually need them now. When you sign a fighter, fans probably don't like to hear it, but honestly, normally it's like, right, we'll give you one little run out here and then we'll go into this fight. And those little run outs here sometimes aren't that inspiring. And by the way, sometimes can affect your performance. Because look at Billy, good example. Billy weren't up for fighting Caceres, but it was part of the deal. He comes in, he has his American debut, it nearly unravelled. And sometimes they're dangerous. It might just be like Callum on Saturday. Everyone's talking about Anfield this. Does he want to fight John Ryder? I mean, I'm a lot more comfortable with him fighting John Ryder than fighting some unknown international fighter where you're really not motivated about. I mean, at least here you are fighting a Brit who really wants to win. And by the way, is your mandatory challenger. So yeah, that's the manifest. Less taking notice of people on social media, which I've done a really good job of in the last 6 months. More YouTube fights.
Yeah, they'll love that.
Yeah. Oh, let's give
the people what they want.
Let's really wind the audience up. More
populist policies.
More celebrity fights. Increased pay-per-view prices.
What's this about you making your debut as well? We're hearing. Well, Kevin Mitchell saying he's going to try and get you on one of his celeb shows.
I am definitely not making. Do you know the other day? It's quite funny. I was in the gym and I was hitting a bag, right? And I feel like I can fight a bit. History has shown me I can't, but I still think I can fight a bit, right?
You done your dad, didn't you, once in a gym fight? So.
Box with Billy Ricky ABC, right? But the better thing is, I was on the bag and someone was fucking around, filming me, right? So I'm like, yeah, go on then. So I'm like, bang, 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 right? And I've gone, show me that back. Well, the image of what I saw was...
like Shallow Hal, isn't it?
Honestly. Danny, I'm watching this thing going, you're fucking terrible. And I'm in the bag thinking, wow, wallop. You're
Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah. So I think that's just a sign of the times, getting to 40 years old and realise that, one, you're useless and, you're
Surprised it took you to 40. I had that realisation like 22, I think.
When I used to box, I used to think I was the nuts. And I was actually, back then, I was a beanpole, right? But I was really tall. And I had all the gear, obviously, because I'm like, Barry Hearn's son, and I'm in the gym, and I'm having these fights. And then when I watched the fights back on tape, I was just like this. Terrible.
Did you have shorts with your name on? I bet you did.
I had title shorts, the blue and navy and royal blue Billericay. I had all the gear, but zero idea. Yeah.
Well, we thank you for your time, and we appreciate you unveiling the manifesto. Cheers, mate. Thank you.